Hello. All right, let's try again. What's up, everybody? Make sure everybody can hear the audio and the video. If you can, put it in the chat. Just let me know that you can hear it. Okay. Should be good to go. I'll adjust the camera a little bit because it looks like it's all crooked. But from now on, we will use YouTube, and I will link it because I like to use stuff that I know how to use without a problem. Facebook's platform. Anybody that knows, I love Facebook for social media, but man, anything tech on their platform is a complete garbage. Okay, so everybody can hear, everybody can see. Sid, talk.
Hi.
You might want to turn that up. Oh, I got my volume down. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
Hi.
Okay, you sound far away because you're on your phone, but that's all right.
Okay, remember, I can't see the chat, so you'll have to read me the question.
Oh, you can't see the chat? Yeah, you're on the phone. So, okay, yeah, if you have questions and you want Sid to see it, you can still put it up there. I'll read it to her.
We'll be more prepared for this next time.
Yeah, no, this is fine. I actually should have done YouTube to start with. It's so much smoother and so much easier, so we're good. Where's Roscoe? He's in the other room. He's chilling somewhere.
Where's Chewy?
In the other room somewhere. I don't know. Okay, so we're here for Q&A. So I know a lot of people had a lot of questions that you put in the thread, which I'm going to open up that thread and I'm actually opening that up right now. So if you put questions in that thread, I'm going to answer those. And then if you have new questions, I will jump on answering those in just a moment. Give me just a second here. I'm trying to pull that thread up that you had.
Yeah, there are a ton of good questions in there.
Okay, yeah. So we got a bunch of comments on that thread. So I'm going to start with those since everybody took the time to put them out. Okay, so Pam, and I answered a few of them because I forgot that we were, not that I forgot we were doing the show, but I forgot they were supposed to be for the show. So, okay, so hi everybody who just joined in too, by the way. Appreciate you guys being here. There's 23 of you, 22 of you if we don't count Sid, 23. So hopefully everyone will go back and watch this later also because there's obviously like 180 people in the group. Okay, so Pam, I don't know if she's in the chat, but Pam is at Heg. She asked if she has payment of PayPal on her eBay store. Should she set up something to accept credit cards? I know of several people that don't have PayPal accounts. So the answer to that is you don't have to set up credit card directly. If you're still on the original PayPal system and you haven't upgraded to new system, people can pay with PayPal using a credit card or debit card. As soon as they click on the pay button, it's going to show like underneath of pay with PayPal, it's going to say, do you want to pay with your balance or do you want to fund this with a credit debit card? So you don't have to do anything special for that. If you're on the new eBay system, there is no PayPal payment. It's only funded by credit cards and bank accounts. So that's pretty easy too. Let's see what else we had. A couple questions. Talk about net profit you can make from selling on eBay full-time. What sort of week or weekly hours are necessary? Okay,
so like this is something nobody talks about.
Yeah, so net profits, here's the thing. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. I've gone through thousands of stores, literally thousands of stores. In one day, I did 200 stores. You guys know I do store reviews and everything for people. And whenever I see somebody, and it doesn't matter if it's clothing or shoes or accessories or jewelry, it's almost the same. So assuming eBay takes 10% and your PayPal fees are about 3.5%, it's 2.9 plus 30 cents. So depending on your average cost of goods, you're spending another 0.5% on that. So 3.5 and 10 is 13.5. And then a shipping label, whether you charge shipping or whether you don't, it doesn't matter. Your item's price is your price. And then a percent of that total sale price has to go to buy the label. So if you average $30 sale price and you're buying $6 labels, well, 20% of everything you sell goes to buying that label. It doesn't matter if your item was 25 plus 5 shipping or 30 free shipping. The price was 30 bucks. That's what you collected. And you spent 20% of that to buy the label. So that 20 and the other 13.5 is 33.5%. A third of all of your sales, and this goes, again, for everyone, unless they're selling $300-400 items, a third of all your sales is out the door immediately on fees and shipping labels. Then there's cost of store, if you do any promoteds, if you do promotions, markdowns. You've got material cost, your envelopes, if you buy poly mailers or bubble mailers, your tape, your labels, your ink, your toner, all that stuff is a couple percent worth of goods too. So you're up to 35 to 40% before we even talk about cost of goods. Now, everybody's got a different cost of goods. Some people buy stuff for $1. Some people are buying $50 computers. You have to figure that out. But just assume that almost everybody operates between 15 and 25% cost of goods. I operate at 17%. So that puts me at 47, 48% of everything I sell is gone. Meaning, for argument's sake, half of what I sell is actually net profit. So if I sell $1,000, I make 500. And most people are around that. I literally have interviewed enough people that 50% is a dead on average. So,
and then also all of that, whenever people start complaining about the 20% fee that Poshmark takes out,
right?
Like eBay honestly takes out more than Poshmark.
Right. It's comparable, if not more. So yeah, so eBay and PayPal is 13.5%. And even when PayPal goes away for Adyen still charges, it's barely saving you anything. So that's 13.5%. And then you've got a cost of a store, which depending on your sales can be 1 or 2% of your sales. So then you're up to 14.5%. You've got where you're buying shipping, because on Posh it's already covered. So your sale price is, you're not taking a percent out of that. So when you talk about eBay, you're going over 20%. People don't realize it. I love when I see that comment about, I'm not paying Poshmark fees, I'd rather pay eBay fees. I'm like, you're a fool. It's
I'd rather
insane.
pay Poshmark fees, because also Poshmark does not send me a bill at the end of the month.
Yeah, it's so much
they
easier.
Just take it. Like you never even see it. They just take it.
Yep. Okay, so 50%, back to what the question was about, how much time do you have to put in? Well, it depends on how much money you have to make and how much you consider full time. But if we just break it down into sets of 1,000, if you want to make $1,000, well, we know you have to sell $2,000 using that number. So if you got to sell $2,000, easy math over 30 days means that you have to sell $66.66 a day. Call it $67 a day. With an average sale price of anywhere from $20, $21, anything up in that neighborhood, that means you have to sell 3 items every day. And as far as clothing and shoe sellers go, they sell 1 item for every 100 they have active, give or take, sometimes 1 for every 150. That means to do $2,000 in sales and make $1,000 in profit, you're going to have to sell those 3 items a day. You're going to have like 400 items active, maybe 500. And so you're going to have to be listing. If you just list, you take a couple days off a week, say 20 days out of the month you're listing, you're going to have to list about 10 to 15 items a day minimum to make $1,000 profit. If you want to be making 4,000 or 5,000 profit, you're going to have to listing 40 or 50 items a day, or you're going to have to sell more expensive items. If your average sale price is 50, cut the number in half. So I have a great video on it. You guys always can check that out. But that's pretty much how it breaks down, and it depends on what you sell. So, okay, so that's a good question there. How much time does it take? I don't know. To list 15 items, you can do it in a couple hours. You have to source it as well. So
it honestly never ends.
Never ending. It's always a job. You have to treat it. That was Doug Aurelio, by the way. Annette King says, how do you rank different places for sourcing? How do you decide what to list on what platform? Okay, part number 1. Places for sourcing is different to every city. If you have a Goodwill Outlet bin store, that's your cheapest place. If you have Goodwills or Salvation Armies that have half off or 99 cents, that's probably your second best place. And then your third best place, as far as price goes, it's the cheapest almost always, is yard sales. But remember, yard sales are only available, and this is why I don't put them first. They're only available on the weekends, typically. And they're only available in about 8 states year round: California, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, Texas, those states. Everybody in the South gets them year round. So 75% of you that live up north don't have yard sales for 6 months out of the year. And then it requires driving around. You have to really plan a route. You have to make the most of your time, because you only get, most people start yard sales at 7 or 8, and they usually close up around noon or 1, and most of the good stuff is gone anyway. So you really have to plan. Yard sales are your best return of profit, though, almost always. Trey is in the house screaming at me. Estate sales. Yes, estate sales are where you will get your most unique, most oddball, rare, vintage, probably most profitable items. You will spend a little more money, and they're a little more niche. If you can learn them, if you haven't, talk to Trey at Caddo Creek. He'll help you out.
I've never been to an estate sale. That's on my list.
Oh, we'll go to one when you're down here again.
Okay.
There are actually quite a bit. We have a lot of older people here. Florida's called God's waiting room.
That's terrible.
It is terrible, but there's a lot. And most of the people in Florida that die, that pass on, their kids don't want to deal with their stuff. Half of them don't even live in this state. Mom and dad retired, and so they just want the stuff gone. And we have, Trey would hate it, but we have a lot of the companies that do the estate sales. So they tend to price stuff higher. If you can get the actual family doing it, usually you'll get off better. So that's the order I would rank that kind of stuff in. As far as what to sell on what platform, there's 3 main categories that are definitely platform only. So Amazon is not for used shoes, used clothing, anything like that. You can only sell that on eBay and Posh. As far as whether to put it on eBay or Posh, my answer is always both. There are some specific things that probably should stick to Posh because you'll do better.
If it's a more expensive item, I will put it on Poshmark first.
Yeah, I feel like designer high-end does better. There's some exceptions to everything, of course. I feel like the women's athletic wear is very Posh specific. I'm talking about Fabletics, Lululemon, like Adidas, Nike, Reebok running gear, workout gear, compression. All that stuff seems to do way better on Posh. So Caddo Creek, Trey says he killed it today. Was there a good estate sale? It's a Friday. So the best days to go to estate sales, they're cheaper on the end days, but usually everything's gone. So go on the first days. Me and Trey went on a Sunday when I left Dallas, and like the places were empty. It was crazy. So, okay. So Posh, definitely women's stuff, obviously. Men's stuff does okay on Posh, but I don't think it does any better than it does on eBay.
It's still growing. It's because for so many years, Poshmark did not allow men's items or kids items. So they just recently started doing this. And I feel like men are just starting to really discover Poshmark and that they can shop on there. Or the women are discovering that they can shop for their significant others on there, or their dads, or buy presents and stuff like that.
Yep. Cool Styles had a question about Simple Posh, but I'm assuming that must be a bot or a program. If it is, it's against terms of service. I've never heard of it. So anything.
I'm pretty sure it's a bot.
Yeah. Anything that doesn't require you clicking the button or somebody you've hired to click the button over and over and over again is a software, a program, a bot, a process, a system, whatever you want to call it. A duck is a duck. It's illegal. It's against terms of service. Not illegal like going to jail, but you can get booted off Posh if they catch you. So, hey, Sherry, welcome in. Okay, so eBay is obviously the only place you're going to sell antiques, vintage, retro type stuff. That's all Trey's Caddo Creek Trader. That's all of his type marketplace. You're not going to go
Mercari as well.
Yeah, Mercari is another one. Yeah, you're not going to go put your used comic books or your vintage ice cream churner on Posh or Amazon. Almost never. So that's eBay, or in some cases Etsy. Etsy's also good.
Posh. You can only do clothing on Posh. So
right, yeah. And so Etsy's great for vintage clothing. I would say if you have like 1980s Michael Jackson stuff, or those big puffy shoulder dresses like you found said here, or like Victorian dresses, that's probably an Etsy market. Even more so than eBay. eBay's probably your backup to that. But cross-posting is really your best friend if you can keep track of your inventory and make sure you take stuff down as soon as it sells. Amazon is going to be best for electronics if you're ungated. eBay is great for electronics if it's heavily used or broken or missing stuff. If it's brand new, like new, in perfect condition or really close or used good, Amazon is much, much better. I see so much random junk on Posh. Yeah, they take a lot down, but a lot of it slips through. There's no doubt about it.
There's no way for Posh to prevent people from posting prohibited items. The only way to get rid of them is to report
it. Yeah.
So if you see something,
report it. Yeah. Okay. So let's keep going down. How did I get started? So Craigslist was always my go-to way back when I moved to Florida. This is 2005, beginning of 05. So Craigslist, buying and selling and flipping stuff. In 05, remember, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was Facebook started in like 2007. None of these platforms existed except eBay. Amazon was not a sellable platform. No Poshmark, no Mercari, no OfferUp, no Let Go. The only thing
Facebook started though, nobody sold things on Facebook. Like
no.
It was communication thing.
It was only communication. Facebook expanded beyond that. But when I started with Craigslist and buying and selling, everything I bought and sold was flipped locally. It took me a little while till I figured out like, hey, let me start throwing some stuff on eBay and see what I can do. And that's when I started like 05, 06. And then I just progressed from there. I've bought storage units. I bought live auctions. I bought out their pallets of leftover stuff. I bought, cell phones, electronics, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and then all the way to thrift stores and things that I do now. So Candace met her husband on Craigslist. I'll keep going. I'm going to finish the questions on the thread, and I'm going to, and then I'll answer what's in the
Do you
chat.
want to hear about how I got started?
I think I know this answer, but go ahead.
I actually started on Etsy. I was working in this boutique in Columbia when I was in college, and I started making jewelry and selling it on Etsy.
Etsy, yep.
I had no idea how to ship stuff by weight, so
I thought it had something to do with the jewelry making and Etsy and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I shipped everything in a small flat rate box. And,
oh wow.
Yeah, which at the time was like $5, so it wasn't that terrible. But then, my mom saw a thing about Poshmark on like Good Morning America or something. And she called me in there and told me to look at it, that I should look at it. And so then I started listing stuff on there, and it evolved from jewelry to clothes. So
Etsy, see, experience in other platforms first, which was another question we got about deciding. How many items should you have for FBA to make it worth it? So there's no exact quantity of items, but anybody who doesn't sell on Amazon, I'm going to give you the 3-hour course in 3 seconds. Amazon has 2 options. You can list an item just like you do on eBay. You can take photos of it, write a description, a title, a price, whatever you want. You can even use the stock images for that matter. Amazon allows it. It's much different than eBay. And you put the item in your garage, and when it sells, you pack it up and ship it, print a label, just like you would on eBay. That's called FBM, Fulfilled by Merchant. There's also an option where you can mail your items. You have to ship it into Amazon's warehouse. So you're going to pay for the shipping, and then you're going to pay again to ship it to the customer. But that shipping to the customer is heavily discounted because when Amazon ships something, it's like half price. So you are spending more money to get your item into Amazon. The offset is that when you sell an item FBA, it gets that Prime logo next to it, which 1, gives it better search, and 2, allows you to charge more for it because people will pay more for a Prime item to get it faster than if they're waiting from a third-party seller, even though it typically gets there in the same amount of time. It's just people are willing. So if I'm going to sell an item for $20, I'm going to spend an extra few dollars to get it to Amazon, but then I might be able to sell it for 25 or 26. So the benefit is, even if I break even on the shipping, that Amazon's now storing my items. They're shipping it for me. I don't have to worry about it. That's the perk of FBA. Now, as far as shipping it in, a way that you can offset the shipping, let's say that you buy a video game and you're going to spend $3 to mail it to Amazon. Well, if you can get an entire box of video games, and a huge box, let's say you can get 100 video games, you can pack them all up and ship them in. Well, that box might only end up costing $30, and then all of a sudden you've spent like 10 cents a game to mail it in or something. So then you're really not spending any money to get it to Amazon's warehouse, and now you're able to charge an extra $5, and so you make a little more money than you would have to begin with. Plus, you get Amazon storing your stuff and shipping it out for you. There is an FBA fee, but it's very minor depending on what you sell. So the idea is not how many items to send to Amazon FBA; it's how many items can you get in a box where the weight and what it costs to mail the box in is minimal. So you would never want to just mail 1 or 2 items. Now, if you bought a big heavy printer for $10 and it was $300 printer and it was going to cost you $20 to mail it to Amazon, that might be worth it to get it out of your hair and get it to them. Because if you're making a big enough profit, sure. Now, this is where the Amazon issues come in. A lot of people don't have, remember, Amazon only pays you once every 14 days. So you have to be able to buy merchandise, list it, get it sold, and wait 14 days or 13 or 12 or whatever day you sell it to get paid. And if you're mailing it into Amazon FBA, you got to be able to front the money for the boxes, for the shipping labels. This all goes on your balances. And so that's why it takes a lot more capital to work FBA. I always recommend people that start to learn through FBM because you can buy something, sell it, and it goes into your balance, and then you can start getting cash rolling in for a few payments, and then you can work your way up to FBA. FBA is ultimately the goal in the end game, but start slow if you've never done Amazon. Let me see. Keep track of the. Oh, you can't see the chat, can you?
No.
Okay, I'll do the chat in just a second. If you have questions, just give me just a minute. We're almost done with the thread there. Colleen said, if an item sells and you have more of the same item, is there an easy way to relist without creating a whole new listing? Colleen, if you're talking about eBay, yeah, you can do multi-quantity. If it sells, you can just hit relist and then change the quantity to how many you have. If you're listing it initially, then yeah, just change the quantity if it's exactly the same item. If there's anything different, then you're going to have to make a new listing. If it's a color difference or size, you can do a variation listing. Actually kind of surprised to see that question from Colleen. I got to be honest. Let's see. What exactly is drop shipping? I've heard the term. Drop shipping is exactly what it sounds like. Let's say that Sid has a video game for sale on eBay for $10 and over on Amazon it's selling for $30. So I go on the internet and I list one on Amazon that I don't have for $30 and it sells. As soon as it sells, I go and buy her $10 one off eBay, and instead of having it shipped to me, I have it shipped to the customer that bought it from me on Amazon. So I'm here, Sid's $10 game is here, buy her for $30 here. It sells for $30 even though I don't have it. I then buy it from her and have it shipped. Now, what are the risks of that? If Sid was to sell that game to someone else and ran out of stock, I now can't fulfill the order and I have to cancel it. Which is why when you're looking for a source to buy from, you can't buy from someone that only has one of something or two of something. You got to buy from a source that has many of something. A lot of people buy off Walmart and sell to Amazon. I mean, it's crazy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of research, and a lot of risk. It doesn't take any money. You don't have to pay for it because remember, well, if you're buying off of eBay to sell to Amazon, you're waiting on your Amazon money. If you're doing it the other way around, then yeah, you don't really have to spend any money. But you just have to keep that in mind. It's really, really high risk. Drop shipping is the ultimate way to make money. You never spend money, you never ship, you never handle, you never stock, but it's also the very, very highest risk type of selling. And I absolutely despise drop shipping. I have my own reasons, but mainly the risk.
It sounds really stressful.
It's incredibly stressful. There are some people that have perfected it. I know guys that have suppliers of merchandise that's, $5 items that they can get thousands a day of, and they sell, 100 a day and they make $5 profit. They make $15,000 a month on an item they never touch, see, or hold that never runs out of stock. But I've also know a guy that made $50,000 a month. One day he woke up to 110 orders. The supplier said, nope, we have no more left. You're going to have to cancel all 110 orders. And he lost his eBay and Amazon account. He went from $50,000 a month to zero overnight, lost his house, lost his cars, lost everything. So, $50,000 a month is a very wealthy person. I mean, driving Ferraris, living in mansions, and overnight homeless under a bridge. So just keep that in mind if you decide to go drop shipping. If you do it minimally and reduce the risk, and Candace seems like she's doing it, that's awesome. But don't put all your eggs in one basket. I just hate drop shipping. I just don't want to also be the reason that somebody drop ships and then gets their account suspended and tells the whole world that I caused them to. No way. Heather Graham, Sarah, is cross-posting across different platforms a regular practice? Is it risky to do? Fear of double selling? What % of items do you list? Yes. So it is risky. You have to stay on top of it. You don't want to get canceled orders. I don't want to encourage anyone to ever cancel, but if you have to, cancel Posh. Don't cancel eBay or Amazon because they track your canceled order metrics on both, and you can lose your accounts. Posh does.
Also, like if you are a new seller, like I probably wouldn't recommend doing that until you are like
experienced. Yeah.
Until you're experienced and until you get used to like knowing your inventory, and because there's literally no way to keep track, especially between like eBay and Poshmark. There's no way to auto take down a listing. So you have to be on top of your inventory. Yep. You have to know your inventory. So
yeah. So one of the questions.
You also have to be like monitoring your sales all
sales every hour. Yeah. One of the questions I get asked a lot is there a great inventory tracking program? And I'm like, I don't even know what that question means. Honestly, I know this sounds crazy, but inventory tracking to me is probably one of the dumbest, most overrated things I've ever heard. And I'm sure some people do it great, but there's two solutions to this problem. One is a program. There's about 4 or 5 websites that do cross-posting, but they only work between eBay, Amazon, and Etsy, and a few other smaller platforms like Bonanza and Rakuten. They don't work with Posh. Posh does not give out its third-party API, and for anyone that doesn't know what that means, essentially it means access to the back end of their
and they're not
platform.
going to.
Yeah, so there's no way for a program to automatically take down merchandise. There's one website called Sellbrite, and basically what happens is you list an item, and then you choose eBay and Amazon. You choose them both. And then you write titles and prices and all that in, and it lists it on both platforms. And if somebody buys it on one or the other, it automatically reduces the quantity on the other platform to 0. So there's no chance of you double selling. Now, that doesn't work with Posh because there's no API for it. So you have to manually manage that. And so a lot of people are like, well, what's a good inventory program? There's no inventory program on the face of this planet, at least none that are readily available, that will do that. There's no way to take an item down automatically. You have to manually go in and remove it, which means you have to know what items are up on a platform, and you have to know when they sell. And so that takes a lot of memory and a lot of regular maintenance.
You don't have to have them memorized. You just have to be very diligent about if something sells, go onto the other platform and
check
take them down.
Yeah. So that's it. As soon as you have a sale on either platform, you got to go on the other ones and see what items are on the other one. If you don't remember, if you remember, great. If you don't, then just go check. The other question Heather asked was, one of my local thrift stores often has clearance sales where one can find good deals, but they put big red X's on the label in Sharpie. Would you avoid purchasing such items altogether based on this, or would you purchase and just be sure to show it in the picture and disclose it? No, I wouldn't avoid purchasing it. If it's really good deal and good profit, as long as the marker only messed up the packaging, there's a lot of people that will buy that from you and don't give a crap about the packaging. On Amazon, it's different. That can cause it to be a problem. Those items I would recommend keeping on eBay.
Well, also, a lot of places do that, like stores like TJ Maxx. If TJ Maxx is selling American Eagle jeans, they will take a marker and they will mark out the tag so that somebody can't buy those jeans from TJ Maxx and then go try to return them to American Eagle.
Yeah, right. Oh, so people were confused about the ending on Posh and canceling. So if you sell an item on Posh and you end it on eBay, you are not dinged. The only thing you get dinged for is if you have to cancel an order, as in if you sold it to 2 different people. Let's say you sold an item on Posh at 10 o'clock tonight and it was on eBay also, and you forgot to go and end it, and you wake up in the morning and you sold it to someone on eBay, then you have a problem because you sold it to 2 people. So you have to decide what to do. At that point, you always cancel the Posh order. The reason eBay and Amazon track your canceled orders, not your ended listings. You can end listings all day long. Your canceled orders, they track that. And if you cancel too many orders, you can lose your account. Posh does not track that. I don't condone canceling orders on Posh. It doesn't look good, but
also, I'm not convinced that they don't track it. They don't promote that they track it, but I'm sure if you start canceling a whole bunch of orders, they are going to notice. Like there's going to be
they probably could. Yeah, that's true.
So don't take that lightly when you know he says cancel it on Posh. Like don't take that lightly. That's your last resort that you want to cancel an order. So you've got to be very, very diligent about monitoring.
Right. Yeah. Always try to take stuff down. Never.
So don't take that as, oh, it's no big deal. Like, no, it is a big deal. Like you don't want to be canceling stuff ever. But as a last resort, you cancel it on Posh if you absolutely have to.
If you have to, yeah. To give you guys an idea, over the last, definitely in all of 2018, I can only remember one order that I had to cancel for a double sale. And it wasn't even that it was on both platforms. It's that I had already sold it and somehow it ended back up, which is a pretty common thing. But I don't remember ever double selling an item on 2 separate platforms. And I sell thousands of items, so you have to stay on top of it.
I have, but it was between Poshmark and Etsy, and it was something that I could replenish quickly, so I just had to wait like a day or 2 to ship it.
Yeah,
but
that was luck.
Other than that, I've never, knock on wood, had that happen.
Hold on, one of our members just sent me a thing privately. A big deal. Okay, so all right, let's finish the thread, and then I'm going to go right into chat and just start answering questions in chat. Do you suggest listing items under $12? I mean, really, if you're buying an item for 50 cents or $1 or $2, then yeah, you can sell it for 10 and 12 and make money. Anything lower than that, you're going to have really small margins. How do you distinguish shirts and jerseys if they're not original? Typically, the tags will give it away. If not the tags, then you got to check the stitching and some other features. It really depends on the brands. Like a Lacoste shirt polo that I got the other day, you can tell those because the alligator teeth are crisp. Every brand has something different. So if you ever have an issue with authenticating something, by all means, post it here in the group. Ask me, ask Sid, ask somebody. And between all of us, somebody will know. I'm good with certain things like Lacoste and Robert Graham and those sort of things. I'm horrendous with other brands. So somebody will know. I would like to know how to get followers and views. I think I have good merchandise and prices, but buy it now. I do return ticket. Don't worry so much about followers on eBay. I don't have all that many for as big of a following that I have. I don't think followers turn into customers very often.
I feel like people don't really follow each other on eBay.
No.
I don't feel like that's a thing.
Don't put any clout into that. As far as views on items, having a lot of views isn't necessarily good. If you've got an item with 100 views and nobody's bought it, that's probably an issue because it means 100 people saw your item and either it was priced too high or it wasn't great or your photos were terrible when they opened it. Now, getting good views on an item means that you probably did a good title because you're showing up in search. But the view count isn't always everything. If something's not getting any views, then you definitely need to change it because that means no one's finding it via titles or your price is astronomical. And most people sort, like 80% of people sort by lowest price. So if an item's selling for 20 and yours is up for 120, well, no one's ever going to see it. You'll get no views. So definitely keep an eye on some of your items, especially your expensive ones, to check the view counts. If it's getting none, fix it. If it's getting a lot, then try to figure out why no one is actually buying it. See what the pricing is.
Probably the price.
Yeah, and typically it's the price, almost always. Okay, any suggestions on women's clothes and what's hot and trendy right now? Abdel, a lot of stuff. There's a ton. You can use the Bolo list that's in the files. You can, just go into eBay or Posh and look at solds and look at the research on them. I mean, there's a ton of brands. We're in the fall season right now. It's cold. It's going to be cold for another 2 months. So, sell off that stuff and start thinking about spring. Spring means bright colors, Easter, Lily Pulitzer.
Yes, start sourcing for spring. You probably should have already started. Start listing it.
Madewell is a good one. They're lightweight stuff.
People go on spring break. People take vacations in the wintertime intentionally to go to warm places. People are constantly searching for bathing. I mean, this is why Target sells bathing suits year round.
Yep. Especially with places like, where I live in Florida and in California and Texas and everybody, Las Vegas. I've seen people on my Facebook feed going to Las Vegas for spring break. So I
used to work for J. Crew, and right after the holiday collection, in January, they get in what they call their resort collection. And it's specifically for people who are going on vacation right after Christmas. It's spring wear, but it's for vacation.
Yeah. Karen wanted to know, what are the fees on Etsy? And she's already selling on like 4 platforms. Should she try to go to Etsy, or is it spreading herself too thin?
It depends on what you have. If you have really good vintage items, I would definitely recommend putting them on Etsy just because they tend to sell for more on there. Or if you have handmade items, you can put those on Etsy. Etsy does charge per listing, which is kind of one of the downfalls they have. It's 20 cents a listing and you have to renew that every 30 days.
Ouch.
So you have to pay to list that item regardless of if it sells or not. And then I think the fee is around like 3% or something. I'm not 100% on that, but I think it's 3%.
Yeah, under $12, really is tough because if it's Poshmark, you're going to lose $2.59.
Oh, I don't recommend listing anything under $12 on Poshmark because if you, at the point that you drop below $12, you're not able to really do any sort of discount or shipping discount or anything and make any money.
Right, because they're already going to take $2.59.
And like that is something that is not really like, it's not ideal. Like, it's not worth your time. Like, you want to strive to really get your average sale price to as much as you possibly can. Like,
yeah, that's going to leave you max in pocket about $7 less your cost of goods. So that's really, I mean, at $10 you can if you're blowing stuff out. Don't go under 10 on Posh. 12
like,
is
that should be your clearance prices.
Yeah,
if you're just trying to move stuff.
12 is a good target.
You have to take into consideration, like, when they do closet clear out, like, you have to drop it 10% to be but then also when you drop it 10%, the price has to be $10 or more.
Yep.
So you can't price something at $10 and then drop the price on it. It won't trigger the discounted shipping.
Oh, Deb says Etsy's 20 cents is good for 4 months.
Oh, it used to be 30 days.
I've never sold on Etsy. That's one platform I've never done. So, okay. If you open a brick and mortar, can you purchase from retail on clearance and sell it in your brick and mortar as well as your Poshmark clothes? Carol, yeah. If you buy items like retail arbitrage from Nordstrom Rack or other clearance stores like TJ Maxx, and you have your own brick and mortar, you can absolutely take it and sell it in your brick and mortar. There is nothing stopping you. Just as well as people go to Nordstrom Rack and buy it and sell it on eBay or Posh, you could sell it in your own brick and mortar. You can sell it on your Posh closet, wherever you want to sell it. Once you buy it, it's pretty much yours to do what you want with. What's the best way to up the sales to get maximum profit without overpricing on eBay? Really, stuff is worth what it's worth, and you can't go, pricing a $20 shirt at $40 just to up your average sale price. You got to sell at what the market will yield. If you're not making enough money, then you either have to buy cheaper, or if you're already buying it for $1 or $2, then it's probably something that you should avoid buying in the future. Let's see. Lisa, I'm not sure. I can't offer free shipping because it just eats into my profits. I'm left with nothing. What would you suggest? I currently have 50 items on eBay, 700 plus on Poshmark. Your eBay sales are not, you're not selling anything on eBay because you only have 50 items and 700 on Posh. So you have 650 items that are not on eBay, and that's why you're not getting sales. You're not listing. If you're not listing on eBay, you won't sell anything. It sounds like you probably do. This is Lisa, is it Ori? You spend all of your time on Poshmark, and I would venture to say your Poshmark sales are pretty good. 700 items, you're probably selling 1 or 2 items a day.
Also, on the free shipping on Poshmark, I never do free shipping on Poshmark.
No.
If I'm doing a shipping discount, I just do the $1.50.
$1.49, yeah. Just like you do on Posh with spending your time. If that's what you want to do, that's your choice. But if you want to sell on eBay, then you have to be listing 5 or 10 every day. And if you think about it, if you list 10 a day for 5 days, you'll have your entire Posh closet over on eBay in about 2 months. So, I mean, it's worth thinking about. If you're doing fine on Posh, then by all means. If you've got stuff on Posh that isn't moving and has been sitting, then I would try cross-posting that to eBay. Steve Vaughn, can you use the total listings, completed listings, and sold listing to get an idea of supply and demand? Polar one step. I had one, worked one, 350, anything. Okay, so Steve asked about a sell-through rate. So here's how you decide if something is a really good item to buy a brand a sell-through rate. So let's say you pick up a floral Eileen Fisher dress, and let's say you search for them. And so I'm going to actually go ahead and search for that right now. And I'm going to give you the perfect example because I already know it's a good sell-through rate. So floral Eileen Fisher dress. Okay, so you'll search for the item that you're getting, and you can start with a general search. And then you can make it, or let's just do Eileen Fisher dresses, period. So there are currently 7,150 Eileen Fisher dresses. Let's say you're buying a used one. There's 2,300 currently active, 2,300 active Eileen Fisher dresses. That's all shapes, sizes, and colors. If you go to solds in the last 90 days, 1,850 have sold. So that means in 90 days, an average of 20 a day are selling, 20 per day. And there's 3,300 active and 1,800 have sold, which means in the last 90 days, 5,100 total dresses have been listed and 1,800 of them sold. Well, that means about 40% of every dress listed sold in 90 days, which is give or take about 13% a month, which is not bad. That means if you list a dress right now, an Eileen Fisher dress, and you can get it down to smaller numbers by looking at specific sizes and colors and styles, that means in a 90-day rotation, almost half, 40 to 50% of all dresses will sell. You have a 1 in 2 shot in selling that dress in 90 days or less. That's really good. That's not amazing. I've seen stuff where it's like 5,000 listed and 20,000 have sold, which means 25,000 total were posted. And out of 25,000, 20,000, like 80% of them sold in the first 90 days. And so that's how you figure out what is a good sell-through rate. Look at the total number active, the total number sold, add them together, and then figure out what percent of that total number sold in 90 days. You typically want something that's definitely above 25%. If something's only selling 10 or 20% of its items in 90 days, it's probably not a good supply and demand. It means there's way more available than what people are buying. So, you know, if every dress was listed at $40 and only half of them sold and they were all $40, it means there's only enough demand for half the number of dresses being listed. If you go look at like Aeropostale t-shirts, they'll be like 50,000 listed and like 100 sold. Like, it's terrible. So does that make sense for everybody for sell-through rate? Doug has a question. Since I started on it's interesting, I'll research it. Eileen, it costs nothing to you. Just click offer. Yeah, global shipping is the same. I saw it as the question. I didn't realize we had so many in the thread. Geez, I've been told free shipping. I do better. Free shipping is a personal preference. You have to know how to add in price for it. Nancy Fielding has a question about your share group. You may want to message her privately.
Okay.
She had a question. Read that.
Yeah, Nancy,
do we keep track of
it? A message because I can't see the chat.
I don't know if she's in the chat. This was on the comment thread. Nancy Fielding. If she's in the chat, send a message. If not, say you need a messenger. Do we keep track of inventory, purchase price, sale price, total purchase receipt? Yes, I have, Pam. Absolutely. I have several videos of that. Recommend GoDaddy or QuickBooks. It is absolutely your best bet. One of the two programs. It doesn't matter which one, but use one of them. You can use Excel spreadsheets, but they're not as like clean. They're free. Or GoDaddy and QuickBooks cost about $150 a year. They're anywhere from $12 to $15 a month, depending on how you pay. Skits Emporium, how picky would I be on the sell-through rate if you're buying stuff for 25 cents? Well, then you can be more picky. If something's going to take 6 months or 9 months to sell, that's fine if you're only paying 25 cents. If you're buying stuff for $2 and $3, you need to be a little bit more selective. If you've got plenty of capital, then by all means, go all out, buy everything. If it's profitable, buy it. If you can afford to sit on it, absolutely. If you have the room to store it, for sure. GoDaddy and QuickBooks, I have videos on. You can check my channel, depending on which one you decide to use. GoDaddy's better for importing and linking, but it makes mistakes. Everybody I know that has GoDaddy, that imports their PayPal, their eBay, their Amazon, always finds mistakes. It's the reason I don't import with QuickBooks. QuickBooks isn't even as good as GoDaddy, and QuickBooks makes mistakes importing. There was constantly duplicates and missing items and mistakes. I would purposely upload stuff through QuickBooks trying to make it fail, and it would fail. Like, I literally was like, that camera wasn't on my sales thing. I'd scroll through and I'd be like, nope, I already knew. And GoDaddy people message me nonstop. I literally get messages once a week. Somebody's like, I imported my GoDaddy sales and it's missing like a week's worth of sales. I'm like, yep. I always do my stuff manually because at the end of the year, when you tell the IRS and they're like, oh, you owe us an extra $1,000 because it didn't import this week. And you're like, well, my GoDaddy made a mistake. They're going to say, cool, you still owe us $1,000. So you want to be right because the IRS doesn't care that your GoDaddy program messed up. So I manually input everything into my QuickBooks every single day. It takes like 10 minutes and I'm done. So I recommend doing that on either program. But if you are stubborn and want to do the import, by all means, knock yourself out. So GoDaddy and QuickBooks, that's your choices. Let's keep going. How do you decide what to post? How do you decide what to post locally? Heavy stuff. That's pretty much it. Do you use a VA for your listings? I do not. I don't think they're worth it. I think you should do the work. Do I have a spreadsheet? Yeah, I'm gonna upload a basic accounting spreadsheet. And did I already upload it? I might have already uploaded it. If I didn't,
you posted it.
I did.
I think that's what you posted.
Hold on. I might have already posted it. Give me a second. If I didn't, I'll upload it after this show. It's a basic accounting spreadsheet. No, I did not. So I will upload that in just a minute. In fact, I think I could do it right now. Give me a second. And so this is just going to be basic buying, selling. It has a column for what the date in the store and what you bought and how much you paid. And then a second set of columns for the date it sold, the platform it sold on, what sold, how much you sold it for. And then 3 columns for eBay fee, PayPal fee, shipping label fee. If you sold it on Posh, you can add your own little, change the eBay fee to Poshmark fee for that item. And then at the end, it has expenses where, like, if you went to the store and bought bubble wrap, you would type in bubble wrap, $20. So it's very, very basic, but it'll get you off to a start if you know how to use Excel. If you don't, I wouldn't recommend using it. I'm uploading it right now into the file section. Just a very basic accounting spreadsheet if you don't have QuickBooks or GoDaddy. It is uploaded into the group right now. It says eBay accounting, but you can use it for any platform, of course. Is the Poshmark advice we see everywhere really applicable to the men's market, or is it totally different? Like the whole sharing over and over again and making offers?
I mean, yeah, it's applicable to anything you list on Poshmark.
Yeah, I mean, if you want something to sell, you have to share it and you have to make offers to anybody that likes it, because those are the people that are interested in it. So that was from Eric. Eric's a very, very high end, and I don't mean high end like $500, but high end like he sells $70, $80, $90 pieces, men's, a lot of men's.
Oh, then he needs to be on Poshmark.
On a regular basis. He is on Poshmark.
Okay, good.
He focused on eBay, and I don't know his numbers, but they're big. They're very, very good. By big, I mean 10,000. I'm not 100% sure. 15,000. He lives in kind of an odd area, but he gets really good stuff. And he doesn't live near anybody else. He lives in the middle of nowhere, which I didn't even know there was thrift stores, but apparently they're amazing. And I don't want to give away his area, but he lives near Salt Lake City. I'll just say that. He just has a really high average sale price and started putting it on Posh. So I know he's building up his Posh. I know that I think he hired somebody to do some of the work, not a bot. He literally hired somebody to do work for him to get Posh going. So yeah, Eric, if you're watching, you got to share. I think he was asking me about hiring somebody to do the sharing for him too. I did to get started. It could be worth it. So Christopher Volp says he's nervous about jumping on the women's clothes on Poshmark. But he's limited on the number of men's items, and so it's limiting his sales. Where should he start with women's clothes? I mean, anywhere really.
Jeans, shoes.
Jeans are great. Jeans will have a higher sale price. Shoes are another higher. See, shoes are great for women too if you don't know women's clothes, because you're not going to have as many sizing issues and whatnot. It's shoes or shoes. You put the size in there, and it should be a little easier.
Right, and then it's also easier to kind of figure out which shoes are going to sell better, like anything leather. Just be careful of what brands you buy, but you can usually tell like the better quality just from the material.
Yep. Okay, the last one we got was from Jennifer Harveston, and she said, is corduroy still considered in style? I don't sell corduroy. I don't know that I've sold any corduroy.
I found some corduroy Vineyard Vines pants at TJ Maxx yesterday, and I looked them up, and the comps were not good. So
no,
I don't know if it's like an in style thing or people just aren't buying them. I have no idea. But I don't think they're really like a hot item anymore.
I can't imagine corduroy. The 90s and vintage retros in style, but I don't think corduroy really qualifies for
I think J. Crew still sells them, so the J. Crew ones might sell a little better just because.
Definitely check your comps on that. Candace sells corduroy plus size. That's probably a good one. Is it normal to get a lot of likes on Posh? I'm doing all chat now. So if you have questions that I didn't see, put them in the chat. Is it normal to get a lot of likes on Posh but not many sales off the offers? It happens. I had an item with like 25 likes on it, and I was making offers constantly, and I couldn't sell it. I couldn't give the thing away, and it sold on eBay.
You have to just keep making offers until somebody buys it.
Yes,
like
so eventually somebody will.
You can't let that deter you. Like, you can't even think about it like that. You just have to keep making offers.
Yeah, you could have
make an offer to every single person until somebody buys it.
You could have 20 likes, wake up with 21, and make an offer, and that one person buys it. So, Riki wants to know international shipping on eBay. Is there any issue with items not reaching its destination? What about shipping time involved? Is there issues not? If you're using global shipping program, none of that's your problem. You ship to eBay's warehouse in Kentucky, and you're done. If you're shipping it directly yourself, you're taking all the risk. Shipping time can be fast, or it could be held up in customs for months. There's just a lot of variables with that. I don't recommend it. Barbara has good luck with Loft as long as they're colored. I never had good luck with Loft. It was always too cheap. I couldn't give it away.
Certain things from Loft, yeah, bright colors and stuff will do well.
Pants. I know the pants. Megan and Winnie sold a lot of the pants that were colored, like a pink pair of Loft pants for like $30. All right, so I'm reading the entire chat. So if you're in the chat and you want to ask a question, make sure you ask it inside of the chat right now, because I'm not looking at the thread anymore. I'm looking purely at chat. And we'll do a few more, and then I got to get off of here shortly. We've been on we've been on almost an hour. So
yeah.
I know I'm holding you up, so I'm going to let Sid go too. So any last questions, please ask in the chat. If not, you can comment in the comment section, and I'll check back on this video and read through the comments later tonight and tomorrow if we didn't get to your question. And if you missed this live and you're rewatching this after 7:15 p.m. on Friday night, the 11th of January, then use the comment section. And we are going to schedule these live Q&As at least 2 a month. We're going to try to do 2 a month. We'll see if we can do any more, but 2 a month for sure. And before they're going to happen, we'll put them in the event side of the group, and we'll put the date and time, and I'll create the video and the link and everything, so it'll all be there. For plus size clothes, should you get a plus size mannequin? Candace Pitt can probably answer that question. I think she does flat lays, but I would say yes, because plus size buyers are very specific niche buyers. Probably want to display it best on a plus size mannequin if you can find one. I wouldn't go out and spend $300 or $400 on one, but if you find one, I would pick it up.
I've always just done hangers. I've never really put it into getting like a mannequin.
Right, hangers.
I don't even know where you would get one.
I got mine off Craigslist locally. I just kept searching for mannequin. I added it to
I feel like you would have to get it from a store that would be like
right, or an out of business store is another good one. I put mannequin into my Craigslist app. If you download the Craigslist app, you can set keywords, and anytime someone listed an item with the title or description with mannequin, it would send me a notice. And so I literally was searching the notices every day, and finally this guy popped up. He had like 12 or 14 different styles and shapes and tabletops, and he put like $25 each. And he was like 10 minutes away. I couldn't call him fast enough. I was on the road somewhere, and I called him, and I like flipped a U-turn, and like in my car, if anyone remembers the video, I was in my car. And
I remember this.
Yeah. And so I was at like at a Wendy's eating. I was by myself, and I'm like just scrolling through my phone, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, he's like 10 minutes away, and he's up by the fairgrounds, which you drove by. And I literally like ran out to my car with like half a burger in my mouth, like trying to get into the car, because he put first come, first serve. And he put the address. I was like, oh my God, people are going to show up there and buy like all of them. And so like, I literally just sped off to get these mannequins. I paid $50 for the 2 full-size ones, and he gave me the 2 tabletops for $40. So I paid him $90 for 4 mannequins. It was incredible. Which Columbia did Sid go to? School, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Candace is using a hollowback, 30 on eBay. That's not a bad idea either. If you can't find a cheap, good mannequin, just get a hollowback. I don't recommend them. I hate them, but if I had to, I would use them. No doubt about it. Glass House Laundry does plus size of flat lays and walls. Oh, Candace doesn't do flat lays. Sorry. I should know that. I've only gone through her store like 100 times. I would say that the hollow back would be fine for plus size. If you can get a mannequin, get it. Keep an eye out, but don't go on like a never-ending search for it. Use your hollow back or your wall until you get one. Mm-hmm. Do I use the make offer on eBay? Sherry, yeah, you have to. If you didn't see Star's video, it's really quick and easy on how to access that feature. Flipping Hippos on YouTube, you can see she's got a great video on it. But the make offer is just as good. A lot of people are having a lot of success. I will tell you that I haven't seen a lot of people making a huge deal out of it, and I think that's because they're trying to keep it quiet. Yeah, you guys, that's the other thing. Anybody in this group, you guys can private message each other. If you see somebody like Candace who does a lot of plus size selling and you have questions for her, or you want to take a look at her store, you guys are absolutely welcome. By all means, email each other, private message each other, help each other out. Me and Sid are here for any questions you have, but if there's somebody in the group that you are interested in or want to learn from, hit them up. They'll help you. Most people in here, they may not do this all day, but they will answer your questions. So. Midwest Deal Finders, Trace, she says she uses hollowback. They don't look bad at all. I've used them a few times. I'm just not a fan, but I guess that's because I'm spoiled with my mannequins. So, all right. So any other questions after that? leave them in the comments. We'll get to them. You guys can, of course, email me or put it in the group, and we'll get to you. We'll schedule the next live Q&A, and we'll get the date. Sid's going to be in town for the middle of February and March, so whenever she's down here. We'll do another one before that because that's a month from now. We'll do one more before that, but we'll also do one then. So, yeah, so appreciate it. And thank you, everyone who did join the group in the last week and who is here for the live chat and all of our technical difficulties. But we're going to jump off. Enjoy your Friday night. Sid, thanks for hanging out so long. My bad.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll message you and everybody else. We'll look for your questions in the comments. Have a great night. Enjoy the weekend, guys. And thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.